Speaker today is Chris Houston. Christopher Houston's background is that of a retired Air Force sergeant. His 20-year military career was spent in the electronics and information technology fields. He has completed an associate's degree in electronics, an associate's degree in information technology, a bachelor's degree in business information technology, and he graduated magna cum laude from Touro University with a master's degree in information technology management. All this while serving full-time in the Air Force. After retiring in 2006, he completed his MBA from the University of Phoenix and is halfway through a master's degree in project management here at DeVry. His employer, Computer Services Corporation, has agreed to fund the final step in his education by providing $15,000 per year for him to complete his professional doctoral degree in information technology management. He plans on completing that at the University of Syracuse. He is currently employed as an information technology specialist for TSA at McCarran Airport. In this capacity, he is part of the Federal Security Director's senior staff and is responsible for all computer and communication-related projects and programs for TSA. He has been married to his beautiful wife, Diana, for 10 years and has 3 wonderful children, Christopher Jr., Daryl, and Kiana. Please help me welcome Christopher D. Houston.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. I want to start with this. We're going to talk about our brain for a little while. Our brain is one of the most difficult things to explain, but it's a wonderful organ. It starts working the day you're born, or actually a little bit before you're born, and it stops working when you get up here to give a speech. Before joining Toastmasters, what I did was I did a lot of reading on how to be a decent speaker. And I read this book called Speak to Win by Brian Tracy. In that book, it talked about a method of how to put your speech together and how to present your speech. One of the methods, it has several methods, one of them was the windshield wiper method. Now that windshield wiper method, what it does is your brain has 2 sides. It has an analytical side and it has an emotional side. The windshield wiper method will help you connect with your audience because what you'll do is you will connect with the audience's emotional and their analytical side of their brain. How it works. The way it works is you state a fact and you give a quote. You state a fact and you give an example. You state a fact, you give a numerical illustration. And you state a fact and you tell a story. This will help you connect with your audience. Now, my wife and I, we're reading this book. I'm going to demonstrate how this works. My wife and I are reading this book, and I say my wife and I are reading it. What happened was she got this book, and it's called The 5 Languages of Love. So when I say we're reading it, she was reading it, and I came home, and she's like, hey, I'm reading this book. I said, okay. Came on the next day, hey, babe, you know what? I found this in this book. The 3rd day, hey, I'm still reading this book. That means when you're married, you should read the book also. Okay? Now, each language will be a fact. And what I'm going to go through right now are those 5 love languages. The first one is words of affirmation. The second one is quality time. The third one is receiving gifts. The 4th one is acts of service. And the 5th one is physical contact. Now, Mark Twain once said, I can live for 2 months on a good compliment. That means 6 compliments gets you through the whole year. Takes a lot more when you're married, but if you have a partner whose primary love language is affirmations, you want to make sure you tell that partner on a daily basis, you affirm them in whatever they're doing. Quality time is second. My wife and I, we spend a lot of quality time together because we have a young daughter and we have to make time for that. Because when you have a young child, your job, all these things get in the way. And when that happens, you kind of distance yourself from your spouse or your significant other. Well, you have to, what I mean by quality time, we go out to dinner, we get a babysitter, so it's just me and her. Next is receiving gifts. You want to make sure that if your partner's primary love language is receiving gifts, give them gifts. You don't have to buy $2,000 and $3,000 rings every week, but a gift could be a card every day. A gift could be flowers, not just when you mess up. The next one is acts of service, which means that some people's primary love language is when for instance, when I do the laundry. You know, my wife does the laundry a lot and she takes the clothes to the clean as well. When I do that for her, that's an act of service. Last is physical touch. I know all the guys are like, yeah, get to the physical touch part. We're not just talking about sexual physical touch. Research shows that babies that are held, hugged, and kissed develop better as better emotional adults. So hold your significant other's hand, hug them, and do things like that if that's their primary love language. What happens is, if someone's primary love language is affirmation and you try to give them gifts, they'll accept the gifts, but it's not really going to really satisfy them, not if that's their primary love language. Over 50% of all marriages end in divorce. And in the book, it said over 60% of all second marriages end in divorce. Wow. Learn your partner's love language and don't become a statistic. That was an example of the 5 love languages and the windshield wiper method of giving a speech.